She charged me $1,200 in cleaning fees. So I cleaned her reviews. I rented a small event space for a surprise party. The place looked nice online, decent price, and the host seemed polite enough until after the event. Out of nowhere, she hits me with a $1,200 deep cleaning bill. Said we left the place unusable, which was wild because we barely used the kitchen and left it cleaner than we found it. I asked for proof. She sent blurry photos of trash not even ours. I peeled through the booking platform. Denied. She was clearly running a side hustle, scam a few hundred off each booking and hope no one fights too hard. So I did my own cleaning. I found her business on every platform I could: Yelp, Google, Facebook, event site, and left detailed, calm, 1-star reviews with photos from our event showing how spotless the place was when we left. Turns out I wasn't the only one. My reviews picked up traction. Others came forward with the same scam. Within weeks, her rating dropped from 4.8 to 2.9. Last I checked, she is offering 50% off all bookings. Guess someone is trying to clean up her reputation. She erased us from her wedding, so I am erasing her from mine. When my brother got married, his bride, now my sister-in-law, had very specific expectations. She wanted everyone in the family to wear their wedding colors, and we all did. People flew in from out of state. Everyone made an effort to make her feel celebrated. The day before the wedding, she made some offhanded but clearly pointed remarks about how our side of the family never takes anything seriously, and she wasn't expecting us to take this seriously either. The comments made their rounds, and feelings were hurt before the wedding even began. But we still showed up, looked great, and participated. Fast forward to getting the wedding photos and video. Not a single photo of our side of the family was posted. Not one. An entire 3-minute highlight reel. No faces from our family except a 3-second clip of my parents with the bride and groom. The rest of us? It's like we never existed. I texted her cordially and asked if she could send me the pictures with just our siblings, since none had been posted. She responded that we never took those pictures. That is wild because I remember helping people adjust corsages for them. She doubled down on the gaslighting. I gave it 6 months and asked again. She suddenly had no idea what I was talking about. Here is where the petty revenge comes in. I am getting married in 8 days. I've been engaged for 6 months and planning this moment since she tried to erase us. I hired a great photographer and videographer. What she doesn't know is that the videographer has a secret mission: make it look like she is getting all the attention. Track her. Hover near her like she is the star of the show. She will feel so seen. And then the final cut. She won't appear for even 1 second. Just like she made sure we didn't. I didn't even invite her originally. Word must be gotten out because she cornered me at a family dinner and said, "Unfortunately, I have to work the day before and after your wedding, but I should still be able to make it." I was so stunned I just said, "That is fine. The event is booked whether you read there or not." So now she is coming. To cope, I spelled her name wrong on the wedding invite on purpose. That was my first move. The video blackout will be my last. Not asking for advice. Not asking if it is too mean. It is not. It is exactly fair. Happy to finally talk about it freely. The time a supervisor tried to throw me under the bus, but I had receipts. By user oddfreedom9198. This happened in 2015, during my first year of teaching in special education USA. I don't know if anyone else here works in SPED, but if you do, you're probably familiar with the difficult process of obtaining a one-on-one pair for a student. So, I had this kiddo, we'll call him Jay. Jay had some unsafe behaviors as a kindergartner, such as eloping from the school and into the neighborhood. It was terrifying to say the least, and a big safety concern, so I spoke with my supervisor, showed him the data, and he agreed the student definitely needed one-on-one support. My supervisor, Mr. C, worked with me for a couple of weeks on the safety net process, getting a one-on-one. It was a lot of loops and jumps and saying the right thing in very specific ways, but I got it completed. I sent it to Mr. C for the last final review and was met with silence. I emailed him after a day, cause we all busy in this field, no worries but more silence. I called his office and left a voicemail with his secretary but more silence. I tried to get hold of him for 2 weeks with growing worry because the deadline was approaching, but I never heard back from him. After the due date passed, he finally messaged me and said since I didn't reach out to him with the final copy, the one-on-one wasn't approved. I was pissed. So I gathered copies of all the emails, the phone calls, every attempt I made to reach out to him, and sent it to his boss, Mr. B, head of sped services. I also included Mr. C's last email. A couple of days later, Mr. C sent me a formal letter of apology through our district mailing system. Mr. B granted me an extension and filed the paperwork himself, and also granted me an emergency one-on-one while the paperwork processed. At the end of the year, Mr. C was fired from his position. I doubt it was just me, but I am sure my receipts had something to do with his removal as the sped supervisor. And that is my story. I was telling it to a coworker here and he said I should post it under petty revenge. That time a neighborhood kid got even on the asshole delivery guy by user Sarah Fox. This one happened a few years ago. Our mail carrier changed and the new guy, called him Dave, was an absolute asshole. Trod on flower beds, rude to people. But the real kicker was Dave would pee in a bottle, and if he was in a bad mood, that bottle would be thrown in someone's garden. If you tell him to throw the bottle in the trash, he'd throw it at you. Dave was the son of the postmaster Bob, an older guy of the boys will be boys mindset and best friends with the local sheriff Steve. If you talk to Bob about his son, it'd be excuses. He's a foster kid, he's had a hard life, and on and on. If you went to Steve, then it'd be boys will be boys. Dave was in his 30s, or postmaster Bob is dealing with it personally. One day in the middle of summer, the neighborhood kids got to see Ma'am and Dave being his usual sunny self. Seems Dave was mean to them too. The kids were out playing with their water pistols, and one of them had this real high power thing which sent the water a good 10 feet or more, and the kid who owned it or in was a great shot. It's a lovely day, 30-degree sun, and I'm out back putting out dinner. Suddenly there's this blood-curdling scream from Dave and the whole neighborhood comes running to see what happened. Turns out Oren had loaded his water pistol with one of Dave's pee bottles and topped it off with a can of Red Bull. So now Dave was covered in this disgusting, sticky pee and sugar mess which was starting to stink to high heaven. One of my neighbors offered to let Dave use her shower. He ran off to another house, grabbed the hose, and turns it on himself. So now Dave is sticky, pee-soaked and wet. He ditched everything in the street and ran off. Steve and Bob went walking the street that afternoon. We'd all not seen anything, of course. Bob had the bright idea of asking Arian, who told him exactly what we all thought of Dave and how he was acting, in a way only a bright-eyed 12-year-old can. Bob and Steve cornered Oren's dad. "Is this your son? Do you know what he did?" Without missing a beat, Oren's dad fired back. "Well, Sheriff Steve, don't you always say boys will be boys?" We never saw Dave again. But Oren's birthday party was huge that year. God bless that kid. Old balls got handed to him by user legal Nivelone. This is a really short and sweet, immediate petty revenge moment. I was enjoying a cup of coffee on my back porch. We live on the 10th hole green on a golf course. It is set in nature, nestled by trees and filled with deer and turkeys and all sorts of other things like that. It is a very Keep Tahoe Blue kind of place in the Sierra foothills. This entitled prick of a man in his 70s cruises to the green on his golf cart and proceeds to jump out of the cart with a lit cigarette in his mouth that he just throws on the ground, still lit, before putting his ball. I was kind enough to wait for his shot, and then when he walked back to the cart, I asked him if he was going to pick up his cigarette. He rolled his old man eyes at me, and I looked at his friend and said, "Really, you we gonna let this guy throw his nasty cigarette butt? It has not his personal course." They weakly shrugged their shoulders and they all drove away. I put down my coffee and walked out front to my driveway, off to the side out of view. The next tee is directly across the street from my driveway. So as soon as the old man put his ball on the tee and takes his driver back, I immediately yell for "You effing litter bucket" at the top of my lungs and completely ruined his shot. The ball literally bounced off his own golf cart and he practically threw his driver. It brought me immense amounts of joy. Thankfully, he had the foresight not to retaliate, and they all drove off down the fairway.